for one more time. We're getting ready to go racing here at Indianapolis. We had a weekend of fixed, a weekend of open, and now it's a weekend of the IIS. It is IndyCar race weekend here, and you know what that means. When they race, we race first. And now it's time for some top split action in the 2025 IndyCar iRacing Series. Hello again, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. I am Gary Gatso, and welcome to round 6 of the 2025 season of the IndyCar iRacing Series for the Saturday Top Split broadcast presented by 4D Racewear. As we end the month of May right now here for the IIS Indy 500K. Got a little bit different crew in the booth. We have a normal name, and we have a name that you've heard on other broadcasts, but have not heard on the IIS this season. We got Mark Murphy with us, who won one of those open races. Mark, good to have you here. You're just a few hours away from heading down this way and attending the Indy 500 tomorrow.
That's right, 21 hours, 48 minutes until they drop the green flag. But Gary, who's counting? We have 500 kilometers of extraordinary iRacing action. We've got an awesome field here. I can't wait for this one. This is going to be a ton of fun.
And also joining us is Ryan Walker. Ryan, one of these days we're going to get you here.
Yeah, I'd love to try and get out to Indianapolis. It's one of my favorite tracks when it comes to IndyCar. It's just one of those tracks I could race around all day when it comes to IndyCar, because it's got that historic feel to it. It's prestige as well, and most of all, you get, if you win it one of these races, even if it's virtually, you still get to drink the milk.
And both you guys are former majors, and I want to say majors, but not confuse it with majors, because you did win the majors Indy 500, Ryan. But both you guys are major series winners here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So a lot of experience in the booth here tonight. We are lining up, getting ready to go racing. Let's get in tonight's starting grid here from the Brickyard, my hometown, the world's greatest race course, the racing capital of the world. And here we go. On the pole. Wow. Is that right? MAB with a speed of 2:31.5. There's some fast speeds going on here for qualified. Stouffer lining up second in the 4D car. He's at 2:31.4 as well. Matty Sinclair showing some pace today. He's been working very hard on his racecraft, and row 2 with Hollaball with the number 1 on his car. Now we're going to get to one of the fun names, Alexander Shinov. We might just have to call him Alexander for much of the race. He's in row 3 next to Logan Edwards. General Kevin Burrell and Santos in row 4. We got Craig and Vitor back in row 5. Strauss and Enger in row 6. Potter and Wallet in row 7. Emerson, not Fittipaldi, but Emerson and Rugna in 8th. Row 8, row 9 is Valentin and Ty Quilla. Watch Ty coming from the rear. He has a good setup, we hear. Pally Bay in row 10, and Dreiling right next to them on the outside. And we have Simino and, I hope I get to say this right, Piombo on row 11. Archibald, again, hopefully saying that right, on row 12 with Nara. Ferguson, Halster, Weiser, and Gherkin round out your remainder of this 28-car, 14-row field in the north end of the racetrack, getting ready to go green.
And one of the things, Gary, that we want to talk about before we go green, this track was extremely, extremely hot for the iRacing Indy 500 races. It is very cool today, 95 degrees on the track, wow. 73 in the air. That is going to favor certain cars as they come to the green light. That's going to favor certain cars, and it's going to hurt some others. Marco Brazil jumps into the lead. The race
he waited for nobody.
Kilometers is on. No.
It's MAB, Stouffer, Sinclair, Hollenbaugh, and Alexander. Now, Dreiling actually looks like he might be starting from pit road, so he is shown as in first place right now, but that will auto-update. But it's a MAB, Stouffer, Sinclair, Hollenbaugh, and Alexander, your top 5 going in the 3 in the north end of the racetrack.
Now, it's going to take 3 or 4 laps for these tires to come up to temperature. And once that happens, you're going to figure out pretty quickly who's got the setup right and who does not. Marco Brazil typically is very famous for having extremely fast cars out front. When he drops back in the pack, maybe not so fast. I can personally vouch for the setup that's on the number 5 and the number 2 machine. But that one was built for extremely warm weather. So hopefully they played with the wings, they played with the gear ratios, and they can keep up. Marco Brazil and Chris Stover, though, they're going to have a battle for the lead. Matty Sinclair, he's going to drop back in the blue machine just a little bit into third, pursued by Halibaugh and Shinov, 4th and 5th.
We're doing 500 kilometers tonight, 125 laps. Ryan, go ahead.
I was just going to say they come down the home straight, and I wonder if Marco might, if he might try and hold on to the lead as long as possible, or if there's some of the pack behind him try and get by him at some point. Does he try and tuck him behind and use that slipstream and maybe do a bit of fuel saving?
Daniel Ferguson goes purple that time by. Ferg actually won the top split of the Friday time slot, so he's starting from the rear and working his way forward in this one, trying to repeat that same effort. Mid-pack, still a lot of 2x2 close battles on the north end of the racetrack in through the short chute. There were a lot of side-by-side racing there. A lot of people just want to really try to grab positions while the going is good. And here comes Santos, here comes Hollenball, here comes MAB, and he is making that Dallara as wide as possible.
Yeah, you know, these guys do, Ryan. They want to get forward as quickly as possible. You mentioned the pit strategy. You need to do 32. You need to do 32 laps a run to make it in 3 stops. My guess is that Matt Halibaugh, he is a very, very, very smart guy, running there along in third now as Santos goes past. Luke Santos goes past. They are content to let Marco lead, because if this thing stays green, Marco Brazil is going to run himself out of fuel, and so nobody is willing to make the pass except for Luke
here's
Santos.
Lucas Santos
on the inside. It only takes one, boys. It only takes one to disrupt the best laid plans of the field. Meanwhile, we've got cars all over the place in the back, right around 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. That's Rashad Craig leading Logan Edwards, Matthias Strauss, Vitor Guilherme, and Gualume Darugna. They're all back there in a wad, Gary.
Yeah, they are 2x2 right behind him. Louis Valentine there in the, we have a Formula One livery on the racetrack. Anyways, Louis Valentine there next to Pally Bay. They were side by side through 3. Here is Ty Quilla taking a peek on the underside of Vitor. A lot of Vitor's teammates are in Indianapolis this week. I've been chatting with them via DM. They are actually at the track already this morning for Legends Day. They were looking forward to seeing their racing hero, Emerson Fittipaldi. Here comes Louis Valentine, 3 wide, and the 21 car stays high. That is Vitor Guillermo. That is, speaking of Emerson, that is Cameron Emerson in the 21 there in the red, white, and blue car. Kind of reminiscent to what Ferrucci drove in the previous 500s. Then there's Louis Valentine in the Visa car and Vitor in the Leaner Energy car.
Yeah,
these guys
are surprised.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm very surprised that some of these guys further back are going 3 wide this early in the stage, early in the race rather, because I thought you would have wanted to settle in, but I don't think any of these guys anyway at the moment don't want to.
Oh. Rashad Craig, DeRugna, Logan Edwards, 3 wide in the 3. Not a good time. Craig way up high in the high groove through 4. And we are just all one on top of one another right now. The entire top 27 is right there in your screen.
Here comes Ty. He's going to fly down the inside of Stouffer and the general Kevin Burrell. Ty Keela looking to go from 6th to 4th in one fell swoop. He's going to make that stick to the inside of Kevin Burrell. He'll pull it up on the back of Mount Halibaugh. But with the temperatures as cold as they are, boys, the fear is that this race can turn into a quote meme. That's kind of what we're seeing right now.
He said meme, not mean, meme race. Of course, we have those meme race doubleheaders over on the Indy Oval Series broadcast when we go to places like Daytona, Talladega, iRacing Super Speedway, and right now it looks like Indianapolis is going to be one of those meme races that is a pack race. There's Valentine to the inside, 3 wide into 1. We got a car sideways into the wall. We're going to go caution. 3 cars involved, 4 cars involved.
And I hate to say it, guys, I had a feeling that was going to happen at some point.
Yeah, with the cars on top of each other like that, it's very difficult to even get off on one another. It's just difficult to get off on one another. Is all you can say about it. Rashad Craig pulls. Let's see. This started in front of Rashad.
Yeah, it started with Alexander Shinov. Hopefully, Shiznov. Hopefully, you're saying that right again.
Well, there's 3 wide there. So
yeah.
He's 3 wide.
I think we got Maddie Sinclair there. Yep.
Yep, you got Maddie Sinclair, and so Shinov, and it appears to be a bit of net code there with Sinclair, but he's going to go sideways directly in front of about the back half of the field. He's going to collect several other machines. We're going to see Matthias Strauss.
Logan
involved.
Edwards got so lucky.
Yes, he did. The 13 of David Hinger involved. You see the 20 of Will Weiser. He takes evasive action, but there are just cars strewn all over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yep.
And caution on the course.
Oh, how did Logan Edwards get just a lucky bounce? But yeah, that's Valentine was a little aggressive taking that 3 wide in the 1 this early in the race. But he must have thought he had a good run and a good opportunity to get there. And that I think taking it 3 wide is kind of what caused that, because Matty then is in the middle and he doesn't have much room to give to the car on the outside. Matty's already racing that car, and then the net code contact occurs. So we have a couple cars that are on pit road. Ferguson, who set the purple lap, was involved in that one. He is out. He, of course, won on the Friday top split. Strauss is on pit road with an extended stop. Alexander, we have a number of cars now making late pump fakes, either onto or on, not coming on the pit road. We'll talk about them here in a second. David Enger shows a meatball flag. He is coming to pit road. Tom Dreiling, actually, I think started from pit road, and he has made up a couple spots. He's back in the order now, but he seems to be okay. He's coming to pit road for a scheduled, where I guess I don't know if we're going to call this a scheduled stop. I think it certainly helps. These guys at this point really don't need to worry about fuel save, or am I wrong there, Murph?
So everybody but Santos, Tyquila Christopher, and Matty Sinclair elected to come on to pit road. So Marco Brazil is going to be the first car that pitted. He will roll back off 5th. Those cars no longer have any concerns whatsoever on fuel. They are eligible to run full rich. The caution helps Santos, it helps Tyquila, it helps Christopher, and it helps Matty Sinclair, but they may still have to save just a little bit. Rule of thumb, 3 laps under caution is a lap under green. They're going to be okay. They're going to make it. The question is, how long is their final stop going to be, and how rich are they going to be able to run it at the end of this thing when it comes time to settle it? Everybody from Marco on back has no such concerns.
And since she is in chat, I want to shout out Sophie. Sophie has her IIS track guides that she's now putting on the channel, and access to the setup that she designs for these races. So check those out on the channel. If you plan on making one of, I think there's only one other IIS race this week, and it will be tomorrow, actually opposite, I believe, the Coke 600. So I'm not sure how big of a strength of field there will be then. A lot of the big racers also in the IndyCar community are in Indianapolis for the 500, so that's why we're not seeing a 4K today. It's only I think we got a 3.7K today. 3.7K for this top split race. But still, we're seeing some new names here. But check out Sophie and her track guides. She won her top split race earlier in the week She won not top split, but the split she was in, I think, second split. So it is a race-proven setup. Check it out. Check out her video right here on P1. Getting ready to go green next time by Lucas Santos, the veteran in the Classic IndyCar Series and the VOR IndyCar Championship. He is currently your leader. Tyquilla of the ISRA, among other leagues that he runs in, is currently second. Christopher of the ISRA is running third. Matty Sinclair of the Velocity Online Racing Iconic Series, he is fourth. And MAB, we don't see MAB do very many league races, do we? But we normally see him in the open and open races and IIS races on very fast ovals. And here he is, started from the pole, currently fifth in the lineup, coming to green. Our number one car for this split in the OMF Foundation. Make sure to search them out on YouTube and give them a donation, is Matt Hollenball there. And the All-American iRacers entry in 6. Getting ready to go green. Here we go. And Louis Valentine's already low on the racetrack. And he gets back in line.
Absolutely, he does. And so this is going to be interesting to me to see, Gary and Ryan, exactly how this plays out. First of all, is Marco's car tuned up enough to run in traffic? That's always the question about MAB. Is his car going to be able to run back through traffic once it's buried? How hard are Santos, Tyquilla, Christopher, and Matty Sinclair going to run? Sinclair is around Stouffer. He's looking to go to the front, but how hard are they willing to run it? Is Tyquilla just going to be content to draft off of Luke Santos? So many subplots happen when you've got split strategies like that, and I'm here for it, Gary.
Up front, and Sinclair. Yeah, Sinclair taking a shot to the inside on Santos, and he Brazilian clears him, slides right up into front of him in the short chute on the south end of the racetrack. Here comes Tyquilla. 2 for 1 for those guys as they both gain positions. Santos falls back, and here's MAB to the attenuator. That's going to be a word you're going to hear an awful lot about this weekend. So I'll just go ahead and get it out there, and if it's part of a drinking game, go ahead and take a drinking game right now. To the attenuator of Santos.
You only need to worry about it if they're talking about seams on attenuators. Matty Sinclair, no such concerns here in the sim. That car is illegal, and it is leading Tyquilla second, Luke Santos third. I am surprised that MAB has not absolutely lit the fire and tried to get back up front. Then again, he may be content just to let these guys lead and again burn down their fuel tanks. They've got 11 laps of green flag action on their fuel.
Yeah, you're right. And, why race harder when you can race smarter? And those guys are going to pit in front of you here in about another 15 to 20 laps. So if you can pick them off, great. If not, they're going to stop anyways.
Yeah, I would anticipate you're going to see those cars in lap 33 to 36, depending on what the wheel setting for the fuel, but we don't know. They may have it turned off. Matty Sinclair might be sitting out there leading this baby in fuel 3 or 4. You don't know what kind of fuel they're burning. I definitely know Ty and Luke Santos are saving. I'll tell you somebody who isn't saving and just set the fastest lap of the race. That's Rashad Craig. He has moved it into 16th place. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but he was back in the 20s on the restart. He has lit that IAR machine up. He's in 16th, and he is working currently on Laurent Archambault in 15th.
And we're riding with Rashad down the front stretch here at Indianapolis, across the yard of bricks, right in front of the scoring pylon. Turn 1, corner of 16th, and Georgetown ticket office is there, although the corner doesn't meet there anymore. They kind of shut it off. Now they're in turn 2 in front of the Riley Children Hospital Suites, down the backstretch, separating 2 portions of the Brickyard Crossing Golf Course. 4 holes are inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Into turn 3, behind turn 3 is a residential area. There's a tree house up in those trees there that the neighbors can climb into and watch the race. Into turn 4 in front of the infamous Coke lot. And down the front straightaway one more time. And Rashad Craig, very patient right now as he is taking his shot on Laurent and not attacking at the moment, but looks like he is just trying to find a clean line through the corner. He's going to get a big run on the high side, and he goes into the wall, and he goes to the inside wall. Rashad Craig.
Oh, Oh, amazingly, luckily, it never got collected by any uncommon cars because that could have ended up being a bigger, even bigger one.
That's an interesting choice of line from Laurent in front of Rashad. Laurent went high. Rashad had committed to making the pass out to the outside, and as Aschenbach continued to go up the racetrack, Craig ran out of real estate, tapped the outside wall, and as it does, it will shoot you straight across the inside retaining wall. A tough break for the car that I would have rated to probably have the best setup for racing in this field. So a tough break for Rashad Craig.
Here's the view from Will Weiser's car. Whoa, right in front of him. He had no place to go, and the physics took over from that point, but he steers clear of it. But we were riding, unfortunately, with Rashad Craig on that one, and gave you a front row view of what happens when you get run up on that high line. You run out of room on exit here, though. You do run out of room awfully fast, and we're back under caution here at lap 19. Do we see these leaders come to pit road, though?
I happen to think that they may have made their bed and they're going to lay in it. I don't think that. I don't think, and Brian, I mean, feel free to chime in. I don't see, if you didn't stop at lap 11, I don't see what stopping at lap 19 gets you.
Yeah, I'm pretty much thinking the same as you. I mean, on the other hand, I was going to ask you, Murph, as well. If you're further back in the field, maybe towards the back of the field, is it worth coming into the pits and just topping up? And maybe it might throw you out of sequence with the pit strategy. But if you're towards the back of the field, I guess in a way, you've got nothing to lose.
Well, we're going to see some split. We're going to see a lot of fakesies. We're going to see split decisions. Santos, Hollybaugh, Kevin Burrell, they're coming down pit road. Matty Sinclair, Ty Keela, Marco Brazil, Christover.
Hollybaugh just stopped. So Hollybaugh is just going to maybe come down. Now, we have unlimited tires here. So he might just top off and decide to go long, or smoke him if you got him. Yeah, he's not going up on the jacks. Now he's going up on the jacks, so now he's going to get those tires. But,
it could be,
go ahead.
It could be, too, again, with conditions different than what we've faced so far with the fixed rate or with the open race. Many of these guys, you don't develop a hot setup, a medium setup, and a cool setup. You develop a race setup. So, there are guys that they're coming down here and they may say, hey, look, I can afford to trim myself out a little bit. I can, maybe there's an air pressure change I can make. Maybe there's something I can do to my car to make it better in traffic so that I can pull myself back up to the front. You never want to stay stagnant in an open setup race either. And so, maybe there's things that they're doing to their cars to see
That's
if
a good
they
point.
can't.
That's a good point. One of the things that you can do in an open setup race on these Indy cars is exactly what you see them do in the race when they do pit stops. You can go to the front wing and add wing, take wing out. You can try to add rear wing if you want to. You could take air pressure in. You could take air pressure out of your tires. I mean, what type of setups would you think that they would be adjusting to with a cooler racetrack versus where they stopped and maybe they thought it was going to be a warmer race and it's not turning out to be that way? Maybe a little less downforce?
I mean, Ryan's the setup guru. I'm gonna if it were me, I mean, I'd be taking wing out. You just remove it 1-to-1. So I'd be removing front and rear wing. I might, based upon the temperature readings on the tires, I might be adding or subtracting a little bit of air pressure, especially from the right rear or the right front, depending on how my car was handling. And yeah, I mean, there are different things that you can do, and you want to take advantage of that. Again, I mean, the track, Gary, is
warming up.
What? It's 100 degrees. It's getting warmer, but we're still 30 degrees short of what we faced in the Open 500. And that's 1 degree of track temp at Indianapolis is a wholesale change. 30 degrees, it almost requires an entirely different car.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, with the talking about changes that you can make to help you out as well, especially on track. Maybe not in the pit stops, but don't forget as well, and you've got in-car adjustments. So you've got the front and rear anti-roll bars, but also you've got weight jacker that you can play around with as well. So you've got a variety of options to help you out.
Well, and you can be a lot more aggressive with those tools in the cooler weather. We see Matty Sinclair go up to the high side, but you can be a lot more aggressive on those tools when it's cooler. The car will take more weight jacker. It will take softer front and harder rear bars, just because the tires won't get as hot by virtue of the temp. Matty Sinclair leads the field to green. We are racing one more time here at Indianapolis. 22 of 125 complete. The race is back on. Sinclair and Tequila get a massive jump over MAB. Meanwhile, you've got
Stouffer shoved up high.
Yeah, Valentine and Stouffer, and that's going to open the door for. Well, that was Derugna going by Stouffer. Now it's Louis Valentine going to the inside of Chris Stouffer. And here comes the old narc brain himself, Logan Edwards, who he's proven his prowess in just about everything with wheels lately. He's looking at Chris Stouffer too.
And Lucas Santos is well behind the leaders now. He's way back in the back. I'm not sure what the strategy is, but he did pit at lap 20, and we showed him coming through the north end of the racetrack. And, ooh, he is loose.
Yeah, and that was one of those cars that stopped, and that could be, hey, added too much front wing, took out too much rear wing. You got to make sure that you make those adjustments.
Yeah, you will disrupt the balance. Yeah, you will disrupt the balance. You're absolutely correct.
Ryan, have you ever had a car that was really good and you thought, man, I'm just one small change away? You made the small change and the whole thing went to absolute bananas?
Yeah, it's a good thing you asked that. I had that in a league race in the 500, where the car felt good, and then I made a change in the pit stop. I can't remember what I did. I think I did maybe one or two clicks of front wing to try and help with the car pushing in the corner, just because the car just felt awful throughout the race. Then I changed the front wing in the pit stop, increased it by one or two clicks, like I mentioned, and it made it even worse. So it's a bit of a gamble making a change to try and get the car to drive how you want it. It's just it's kind of like a game of adjustment roulette.
It is, and what people at home may not realize is that, in the sim, we tune on these cars in the same way they do in real life, right? So, we have aerodynamic data, chassis data. Imagine every lap in the sim has the same telemetry as real life, but in the sim, we basically get 7-post shaker.
Hang on. Tequila making a Pato-type move into turn 3, and he clears Derugna, but Derugna was not making things easy for Ty, and Ty just sent it.
No, Derugna wants to get to the front and lead this thing. He's on that alternate strategy where he stopped 14 laps ago. He's trying to make it past Sinclair and Tequila, who are really and truthfully about at the end of, well, they've maybe got 10 laps left. We've had a couple of yellows, but he's really made an effort to get up there and lead this thing. The one that surprises me is Marco Brazil, who has never not wanted to lead any lap in any race that he's ever entered, has not stormed back to the front and been aggressive about it. Marco has played it very cool. He's still in fourth. He's behind Sinclair. He's got Louis Valentine and Chris Stouffer behind him. Stouffer is
I would say MAB's motto is very similar to Sato's motto: no attack, no chance.
Yeah, and you look at it, you can kind of tell, one of the things you can tell for the fans at home is to how trimmed out these cars are. If you look at the rear wing, every so often you'll see cars that have the wickers on the rear and cars that don't. Marcos does not have that wicker. There is a lack of downforce on the number 4, and that's his MO. That's the way Marco sets them up. They are very fast, but they can be a handful in traffic, and maybe his car just doesn't handle in traffic, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that as well. Maybe he's got the car up to run quick and clear air, but it's all well and good doing that. You've got to have a car set up to run well in a pack.
Matty Sinclair made MAB think twice about taking that shot to the inside. Now Sinclair forced a little high. But off of 2 down the backstretch, we're back single file once again. We see a car coming off of pit road. Nyquilla back to the lead. So we're talking about Wickers. Another name for them are gurney flaps, gurney strips, named after Dan Gurney. It's his invention. They're little strips of fiber that they put to these wings to allow extra downforce. Extra downforce is extra drag. Extra drag means slower lap times as DeRugna getting up close and personal at the south end of the racetrack wall.
Yes, indeed. Now, the thing about the original gurney flap was that, or the thing about gurney flap is it provides downforce with very little drag penalty. It's almost like if you think about it like a lip. The ones now do have a little bit more of a drag penalty, but they're more than just that lip. They're almost, I don't want to say an extra wing element, but they're much bigger than just a little lip. But you'll see some cars have them and some cars don't.
Oh, we're going to rewind. Marco in the wall. No, he doesn't. He keeps it out of it. But Marty is not giving him any inches. Meanwhile, down low, Louis Valentine gets the positions. So we go 3 wide at that end of the racetrack again with Valentine on the inside. This time we come out with no wrecks. But Valentine up the third. MAB now getting under attack from 2 other community regulars, Logan Edwards and Chris Stouffer.
Yeah, and something else in play here, and Ryan, expound on it if you can, is a lot of these guys know each other. And so there are interpersonal conflicts and relationships that play out on the racetrack. Anybody who's been around the community knows that some of these drivers are more prone to be in conflict with some of their fellow competitors in a given point. And that will cause you to race that person differently, won't it, Ryan?
Yeah, well, indeed. I mean, you've got some guys at racing leagues. I mean, look at Matty Sinclair, for example. Me and Gary, Gary especially, from commentating on the Vor series, has watched Matty a lot of times, and Matty's a quick driver, and he can race hard when he wants to. And from my experience, he can be a bit, no disrespect to him, but he can complain at times as well, from my experience of being in the same race. But yeah, we'll move on from that. But yeah.
Whoa, in the wall!
Oh, Sinclair in the wall a little bit. I don't know that did anything but scuff the lettering off the Firestone. That was close for Matty Sinclair. But yeah, I mean, these guys know each other. We race together. There are a dozen names in this field that we race together every week. And so you know that driver, you know his tendencies. He may have yelled at you a couple of weeks ago, exchanged a crossword or two. Referred to you in some less than nice language in a Discord chat. You remember these things. And so you might not give that guy as much room as you would somebody else. And so those things are at play here too. So, if you see something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes, believe me, it makes sense to the guy that's doing it.
And don't forget, some of these drivers as well, they put a lot of time with this car as well. I mean, you've got lots of teams in the IndyCar community that spend God knows how many hours perfecting setups.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of rubbing and a lot of love that went into these setups. And I know Rashad Craig, for example, my teammate in Indy Alliance, he's going to be gutted with wrecking that car because he knows how good it is and how much time has gone into it. We do have Ty Keela. He is on a very similar, if not same, as... He's on very similar, if not same, as Rashad Craig. He's out there leading this thing. He's got DeRugna and Valentine behind him. Those are 2 names that we do not know very well, Gary. And then behind him, you've got Matty Sinclair, Marco Brazil, and Logan Edwards, and Chris Stover, Vitor Guillermi. Those are 5 veterans lined up behind the 2 newcomers.
Valentine, he apparently has a setup, at least at this point, with the tires that he has on the car, that works very low. And here comes Matty to pit road, scheduled stop. But Valentine seems to have a setup that will allow him to go very low entry into the corners. And he is just sending it into these corners when he gets underneath somebody. I normally call Fraporti the mailman because he just sends it. I think today Lewis might be the FedEx delivery guy because he's sending it as well. Caution on the racetrack.
Yeah, caution on the speedway. It's going to be Luke
Santos.
Santos. Yeah, I think Santos finally.
No! I think he had a little help from the 14.
I think that might have been some net code too, Gary.
Yeah.
But Luke Santos, he went in. He made the pass on the 14 machine, but then just unfortunately it comes up the track and they get a little bit of net code there. And you see the unnatural movement of the car with the net code contact into the fence. But Santos had been struggling with that machine, something fierce.
Now watch Lucas Santos here on this replay and see he's getting dirty air from this car, and it's not getting on the wings and it causes the car to go up the racetrack, and it slid up in front of. He had to roll out of the throttle, and it slid up in front of Olivier, and that's just a kind of a closing rate. He got a little help from Olivier, but I think I'm going to say it's one of those racing deals. I don't think anything Olivier did was very malicious.
No, and I'm going to tell you something.
Lucas might debate that right now.
I'm going to tell you this. You know who's going to come out of this deal smelling like a rose? It's going to be Matty Sinclair with 25 laps and in the pit window. Everybody's going to come to pit lane here. That's going to mean that Matty Sinclair is going to be leading this race when it all push comes to shove, Gary.
Yeah, good call to come to pit road, and a lucky fall of the caution flag. Does he stay out? He's gonna. Well, he's coming in. No, he's going to pump it. Okay, maybe he's watching this, and maybe he heard you just say, "Don't come to pit road." But he made the looks like the turn down the pit road, and we were all going to wonder what was going on there, because it wasn't any advantage for him to come to pit road. It's all the advantage to take up all of this track position. And so he has two cars in front of him, David Enger and Dustin Gherkin. They will get the wave around before we go green. And that will then move Matty Sinclair to the top of the queue here to bring us to green flag here when we go green here, shortly before the 100-mile mark here of this 500-kilometer race today, part of the IIS, our only non-full distance race on the series schedule this year. And the reason really kind of because of that is these guys have, by this point in the month of May, have, I would say many of these drivers have thousands and thousands of laps turned at this race course, from fixed weekend, open weekend, and now, and not even, we have fixed Indy 500 weekend. You have open Indy 500 weekend. You also have the Indy Open Series that there was a race here. You have the Indy Fixed Series that there was a race here. And now the IIS. You have all these laps here. I'm sure the last thing these guys wanted to do was another 200-lap race 3 weekends in a row.
Yeah, I was going to say, doing a lot, pretty much all the practice most of these drivers have done for, or have done for the 500, be it the fixed setup, the open setup. Basically, the practice have probably put on for that as well, and doing 2 races. The fixed setup first, and then the open setup last weekend, I believe. Yeah, pretty much, and then this race as well, when you include this. Yeah, it's pretty much, I wouldn't say get close to burnout, but it probably causes the drivers to get a bit bored. But me, myself, I never ever get tired of racing around this place, just because it's just such a fantastic track, fantastic venue, and it's just got that, like I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, it's just got that kind of prestige and nostalgia feeling to it.
Yep, for sure. And keep in mind, I mean, all this, the fixed Indy 500 and the open Indy 500 are standalone races. There's no points. It's just prestige to win. But on the Indy Fixed Series, or the Indy Open Series, excuse me, even in the Indy Fixed Series, they have races here. But in the Indy Open Series, it's a points race. In the Indy Oval Series, it's a points race. And here in the IIS, it is also a points race. So those other races, the Fixed and Open Series 500s, might have more people that are just kind of showing up for the one-off experience. But a lot of these races that you're watching right here, these not only have people that are in it for the prestige, but there's points on the line here. we're getting ready to go green. And speaking of points, I will bring up the points coming into this week. And we are going to go green here at lap 39. Next time by will be 100 laps or 100 miles into this thing. Your leaders, Sinclair, DeRugna, Valentin, Quilla, and MAB, your top 5. Oh, and we do have, next time we do have a caution. We do have Matt Hollenball in the waiting interview. So if we can bring him up and get his thoughts, we can do that next time. Oh, Ty Quilla going to set a 3 wide on the bottom of the racetrack, and he clears the Rugna.
Yeah, and I don't want to... Yeah, I think just watching that, I think I might have cleansed a little bit.
And here comes DeRugna to the inside. And here comes Valentin. DeRugna in an IndyCar livery. I believe that was driven by... oh, gosh, they are not giving each other room on the white line. Wow.
No, they're not. And those are massively aggressive moves for 1/3 distance here. It's not really going to hurt either one of those drivers to go back to second because you're immediately going to take the draft and go back to the lead. Again, interpersonal relationships. Maybe finally DeRugna is going to get the inside line and take the lead from Ty, but Ty's just going to cross him up and go right back past Gary.
DeRugna in a former livery by Romain Grosjean. He drove for Andretti Autosport. And, of course, Valentin in a Formula One livery on an IndyCar. Come on, Matt. We can get you an IndyCar livery. There are lots of them out there. We can get you an IndyCar livery.
We can get you a Kyle Larson livery.
No, anything but a Kyle Larson.
Choose Scott Dixon.
Hey, it's an IndyCar livery, Gary.
I would rather see another Scott Dixon out here. I'm okay with that. He's gonna go down when he retires from IndyCar racing. He's gonna go down with GOAT status in IndyCar racing, IndyCar history. I firmly believe it.
Yeah, and look, we were talking about the interpersonal relationships, and you might race guys differently. They're 3 wide for second, but Ty Quilla has spent so much time battling with DeRugna specifically. He's going to lose spots now to Valentin and MAB. And might lose it.
Valentin just blinked out, and now he's back. Wow.
Yeah, that's not something that you want on an oval because, a blinker on an oval especially, it can cause you to lose concentration slightly because you just don't know where they want to end up.
Oh, MAB to the front.
Well, it's not just that. It's when the car in front of you blinks. Dirty air comes and goes. There was a race where I ran second to a car that was blinking, and it was causing the dirty air in front of you to gum in and out, Ryan.
Intermittent dirty air.
Yeah, you would get intermittent dirty air, and that's worse than I could adjust for the dirty air, but I couldn't adjust. It was 10 clicks a wake jacker at that particular track. You could adjust. You couldn't. You couldn't adjust for it like that. So eventually, I just had to back off outside of that range. We're going to be 3 wide.
3 wide, just like a pace and how they start the Indy 500 here going into turn 1. Quilla now up to second. DeRugna back to third. I think Valentin was thinking about taking it 3 wide there again, or 4 wide at one point. Oh, I want Ty, a little bit of mirror driving, but DeRugna sends it to the bottom. Ty's going to hold that middle line, and he's going to come out a little bit faster at the top. He's going to have the momentum. They're going to drag race down the front straight. DeRugna wanted to cut across the nose, but he was not Brazilian clear there. Speaking of Brazil, here comes MAB. We might go 4 wide down the main straight here at Indianapolis. MAB to the bottom in the 1. Oh, getting close up top. Oh, there it is. There it is.
And MAB
saves it. Logan Edwards.
Logan Edwards couldn't figure out where to go to miss it, and he winds up on his lid. Poor Logan Edwards. My goodness.
again, I'm going to say it, but if you're going to go free wide all the time and get a bit forceful, there's always, it's inevitable. It's always going to be a big accident. And yeah, my point was proved yet again.
And everybody right there in the Riley Children's Hospital suites in turn 2 getting a good look at the undercarriage of Logan Edwards. This is luckily this is sim racing, and no one physically gets hurt. But
Joey Chipwood would have been proud of that when he was the promoter here, Gary.
Gosh, I mean, he was basically like a skateboard grinding the top of the wall there. Let's go back and take a look from Ty Quilla's point of view on that incident, and he was really kind of forced up into this thing. Let's watch from his point of view. Not a lot of room coming down to the yard of bricks at the start-finish line. And so there's the car that is inside. We'll go ahead and remove the tree there. And here he comes turn. Now the car to the inside. Now there's an additional car to the inside. So the car to the inside doesn't have as much room as he wants. And here's where you run out of room, right here. And then that wall grabs you.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Good work from Ty to kind of keep the car straight and keep it from spinning in front of the field. I know Logan Edwards probably doesn't appreciate it as much.
Logan with the Tony Hawk there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nowhere for Ty Quilla to go. And really, when you're Derugna there, you got to kind of know, as I would say it, you got to know you're the monkey in the middle, and you got to know that it's your turn to lift, because 3 wide here does not work.
Well, let's talk about that. Whose job is it to lift when you're 3 wide? Is it the guy in the middle? Because there's no etiquette on it, really. It's who has I guess the biggest set of huevos going into turn 1, right? So in this case, they all 3 of them, Brazil, Derugna, and Ty Quilla, 2 of which we know from the community. 1 we don't really know who should rightfully roll out of it. I think someone should. They should look at the lap count and go, well, we're at 47 of 125, and it is, if I don't lift on this, I'm going to get in the wreck, and I'm never going to see 125. So who should have really lifted on that? Is it the middle, or is it Ty, or is it MAB who kind of put them all in the situation when he full sent it to the bottom?
It's usually the guy in the middle.
Okay.
And if you don't know who it is, lift, because there's, look at Ty now, right? We've kind of had this. You and I have had this discussion before, Gary. You're not going to win the race with that move with 78 laps to go. So
hey, let's bring up Hollenball real quick. Matt Hollenball, I don't know if he's expecting to be pulled into the booth, but here he is. The number 1 car of this split, Matt, back in P8, and it is a little chippy out there.
Yeah, it's very cold out right now. The track temperature is only like 96 according to Ty Quilla. So it's very packy, very just very easy to get a run, but hard to actually do anything with it. So it's just a lot of tempers flaring, especially with that incident that just happened there.
How's your race so far as we're getting ready to go green? I think next time by, real quickly before we let you go, how's your race? And it really doesn't look like it's a fuel save from here on out. It's just go, go, go.
Yeah, honestly, like with that pit stop I just made, like I've set myself up for hopefully to be like 10 laps better on tires than everyone in front of me at the end of this thing. But yeah, it's fuel should not be a concern for the rest of this thing. We're outside of the window to try and make it on one more stop. I thought about it, but like no, we're not quite there.
All right, well, get your gears ready, get your engine map set, and getting ready to go green. Thanks for waiting around. We'll bring you up again here if we get another caution. Best of luck.
10-4, thanks.
Matt Hollenball back in 7th spot. The number 1 car of this split. That's the highest I rating here in this split. We're getting ready to go green here, coming to lap 49. This last 10 lap period's been a little rough. Couple of cautions. Sinclair is your leader. Christopher second. Vitor Guilherme, he is in 3rd. Tobias Nara, he is in 4th. and MAB in 5th. Here we go, coming to the green flag. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not done so already. Green flag in the air. Here we go once again for the Indianapolis 500K of the latest round of the IIS and the Saturday top split. And Nara taking a peek to the inside of Vitor. And now we got two Brazilians, Vitor and MAB. Mark, Brazil has a rich history of drivers in IndyCar racing and the success here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
It does. Of course, Emerson Fittipaldi would have been the ringleader of that. Helio Castroneves, 4-time champion, Tony Kanaan, probably the most beloved figure in modern IndyCar racing. I've often said that if Tony Kanaan decided to run for governor of Indiana, he would do so unopposed because nobody would have the guts to oppose him. So Tony, if you want to be involved in politics, I don't. It's Indianapolis is kind of a crazy place like that. In that, probably the three most popular names that you're going to see at the Speedway this month, other than Larson, who's a freak of nature, are Tony Kanaan, Helio Castroneves, and Scott Dixon. And there are those who lament the lack of Americans in the field. It's not that there aren't Americans; it's that legitimately Tony Kanaan and Helio Castroneves are probably the two most popular drivers in the race.
And, of course, we have other Brazilians that have won the race. Gilda Ferrin has won the race. Christian Fittipaldi came very close. Vitor Mira came very close. Raul Boesel came very close. So a rich history of Brazilian drivers here at the Speedway on the oval.
Rich history of Australians. Jack Brabham brought the rear engine car here, and there's an Australian going for the lead. Matty Sinclair in the Bluey machine, another product of Australia.
I don't even know what that is.
I was just about to ask, do you watch Bluey? Now,
that's a cartoon. That must be a cartoon. That must be a cartoon.
Ryan, do you watch Bluey?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
So I have three kids, the oldest of which is 8. And so I have seen every episode of Bluey 74 and a half times.
Oof.
It basically plays on a loop on the Disney Junior channel. My kids love the show. It's a product of the Australian Broadcasting Service, actually. Yeah. Disney owns the rights.
I don't have to worry about that until grandkids, and I don't have to worry about that for at least a little bit. So I'm good for a while.
I've watched another Australian TV show. I don't know if you've heard of it. I used to watch one when I was a kid called Skippy.
Not heard of that one, but Bluey is probably the most popular Australian export in the United States at this point. Matty Sinclair trading the lead with Chris Stoker. Those are two very, very good cars. Vitor Guilherme has a ton of experience here. Tobias Nara, not known. Marco Brazil, Matt Hollybaugh, the rest of the front 6, they are very well known in the community. And I've got a ton of experience with that number 1 machine at Indianapolis. I can tell you that's a fast hot rod too right now, Mr. Godso.
I bet you do. I bet you could tell us about that last race you had with him. It is Stouffer in the Ford E-Car, our sponsor of our presenting sponsor of the IIS. Make sure to check them out at 4dracewear.com. It is your leader. He has 2 wins this season in the ISRA. He's also got wins at the Area 51 level and also at the Lionheart level. So a well-accomplished driver here for Chris Stouffer, driving for 4D Racewear. Vitor in 3rd, Tobias Nara in 4th, MAB in 5th. And it looks to me, and I get ready to say that, and here's Burrell giving a peek to the inside. It looks to me that we're kind of settling down a little bit. I could be wrong, Let's take a look at the weather real quick. There's your, oh gosh, the track temp has come way down, although now the sun is out.
Don't worry, Gary. If you don't like the weather in Indianapolis, it'll change. 73 on the track, 90 or 73 in the air, 92 on the track. What we do have is a ton of wind. It's out of the west northwest at 10 miles an hour. That is very uncharacteristic of the swing. Usually, when you get wind here at Indy, it comes either dead north or dead south, and it's usually just a breeze. Right? It's very rare to have
the northwest
like this.
Northwest is from turn 4.
Right. Normally it blows straight north. Right? So straight across the north end. Right now it's blowing west northwest. So it's blowing across or diagonal to turn number 4. And that is a huge setup change, especially when it's 12 miles an hour. Now it'll affect you in different ways in different places. So turns one and 4 are very guarded by the grandstands. And so you don't get as much effect from the wind in those places as you do in turns 2 and 3.
So I'm drawing on the with my mouse here. I don't have my tablet set up, but the speedway sets exactly north, south, east, west. It's not on an angle or anything. So the north end of the racetrack is turn 4, turn 3, and then the south end of the racetrack is turn 1 and turn 2. So that's how it sits geographically. So the wind is from the northwest. That means it's coming in this way. So they will get pushed into 2, and they will get loose out of 4, depending on how that wind impacts them.
Yep, it will. It'll give them a little bit more grip going into 3. They'll have a little bit of a tailwind going into 1. It's going to want to loosen you up there too. And so these things are all foreign to these drivers, right? We don't deal with west blowing winds very often here. We don't deal with high winds very often. All of these things are going to change it for the drivers.
Hollenbaugh up the 5th around MAB. That was a good battle. We are now under a pretty decent green flag run here. And Hollenbaugh on 10-lap younger tires than everyone, as he said in the interview. And he's starting to pick off some people as they are getting a little bit later into their run on those used tires. Next up for him is Vitor, then Tobias. And we got Ryland Potter back there in the DuPont livery. We could get you an IndyCar livery there as well. Unfortunately, Jeff never got to IndyCar. That was his life goal before he got to NASCAR. And really, he's one of the underlying causes of the split. When the split occurred in the mid to late 90s, it was really because of the cost of engines and the opportunity for drivers. It's kind of what it was. The cost of racing. The cost of the engines was one of those big things. But the opportunity of drivers. And drivers that normally would come up through the USAC system and get into IndyCar, such as Jeff Gordon, they were all of a sudden getting NASCAR opportunities because those were the only seats that were open, while over in IndyCar, drivers from outside of the United States were bringing money and investment to IndyCar, and they were what we call buying seats. And that's how a lot of drivers often made their way into the Indy 500 on names that you don't really recognize, is because they kind of bought their seats. They brought money to a team that was struggling to find money, find sponsors, and find drivers. Now they have a money and a sponsor coming to a team, and that's kind of how a lot of those opportunities dried up. Go ahead, Mark.
Do you mean to tell me that Hiro Matsushita was not here based on talent, Gary? I can't believe you would think that. Meanwhile, I do have a Chevy and Rich Team Owner shirt somewhere in my drawer from my adolescence. Matty Sinclair and Chris Stouffer.
Now, Hiro had family money because his dad owned Panasonic, and that's why they were able to put Panasonic on the side of their cars. Now he owns it. Yeah. There's a couple of ex-IndyCar drivers that own companies as well. Howdy Holmes is actually one of those as well. Now he has sponsorship on Chip Ganassi cars.
Yeah, the Jiffy Cake Mix company, of course. Matsushita's family, though, the Matsushita Electric Company is a conglomerate in Japan. They're one of the richest families in the world. when you stop and think about it. But that's just merely one example. But yes, I mean, and it's because the game is different in everywhere else. In the United States, we like to think that athletes, race car drivers, they come up on merit. In most of the rest of the world, it's very much a money game, and it's very much a money game. And from a very young age, even at the feeder level, like what we would consider sprints and midgets, you get those rides in the United States on talent. Overseas, to get into even karts, and then the junior level formula F4, F3, you're bringing money to get to those seats. Nobody's hiring you on talent. And so those drivers at very young ages, 12, 10, 12
look at
old,
Aston Martin.
They're finding sponsors. Yeah, they're finding sponsors, right? And that extends in the top levels of the sport to the point where you've got Lance Stroll's dad buying a Formula One team so his son has a seat.
It used to be and you would look up and down the entire IndyCar lineup, the 33 starting field, and all of them had some type of background in dirt tracks and midgets. I could be wrong, and if there's someone else in the lineup that you could think of in this year's race, please let me know. But I believe there's only 2 drivers in this year's Indy 500 that have a background in dirt and midgets. One is Ed Carpenter, and the other one is Larson. I could be wrong. There could be another one there I'm missing I don't know about, but there's at least 2. But before, it used to be the entire lineup for the most part.
One more that most people don't realize is Will Power. His roots are on dirt ovals in Australia.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep, he used to be before he started doing basically before he started doing IndyCar and stuff like that. He was pretty famous for racing on, like Mark mentions racing on dirt ovals, and he was actually, from what I understand, he was quite successful.
Yeah, so a lot of people wouldn't realize that Australia has a hugely popular and successful dirt scene. They also have a really, really cool boat racing scene down there. The Griffith Cup, is it, Ryan? I believe they run down there for hydroplanes. And so Australia, for a long time, also had its own Formula One series. And for many years, the Australian Grand Prix was not a world championship race, but it was attended by all of the top teams. Hugely successful racing team there down under. We're watching the Australian Matty Sinclair, who sparked this conversation, take the lead with Chris Stouffer. Viertor Guilherme has decided he wants to go to the front. He makes the move on Tobias Nara, and Matt Hollibaugh continues to keep the powder dry in 5th. The veteran Marco Aurelio Brazil is 6th. And the general, Kevin Burrell, has moved his fiercely Ford machine into 7th, Gary, very quietly.
Yep.
We have not called his name yet.
Not a lot, no.
We have not, but it's halfway. And the general has started to move himself toward the front, G.
If you enjoy P1's coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series Saturday Top Split presented by 4D Racewear, and you respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing, and while you don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future P1 iRacing broadcasts. Next time we'll be on the air will be next week. That's when we will do the IndyCar Oval Series race, Tuesday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Final crown jewel of the season at Fontana, as we're getting into the last 2 rounds of that season. Don't miss us next week, as we have the weekend off for the big Indy 500 tomorrow in Indianapolis, starting at noon. Green flag. Here comes Matty Sinclair's scheduled stop.
Now this is early, so 67 to go. He's gonna 66 to go.
He went 33 laps.
He's gonna need some help. That means he's going to have to do 33 and 33. You can do that, but you're going to basically have to coast in order to make 33 and 33 work. So here comes Matty Sinclair. He's going to bring it to the attention of the crew. We'll watch and see where he comes out. The bad news is he's not going to lose a lap, so he's not going to have anybody to draft with when he comes out either.
He's down and away. New set of Firestone's full tank of Shell Racing fuel. Past the cones, off the button. We'll look further down the racetrack. There they are. They're the leaders. There's Vitor taking a shot on Stouffer. So Maddie's going to be well in front of this group as he's already through the turn 2 area and now still coming up to speed down the backstretch. Separating two halves of the Brickyard Crossing Golf Course. This is where Speedway High School. This is their home course. So they play their high school golf there. That's pretty cool.
I would like to point out, Gary, that my Ball State education has reared its ugly head. 55 laps to go. So no concerns on the fuel for Maddie. Have you ever played the golf course here?
No. Christopher.
You have not?
Pit Road. No, I have not. No. I am not a duffer. I am not a duffer at all.
Matt Hollybaugh is going to try to make it 3 wide. No, he thinks better of it. Tobias Nara goes to the lead. I thought we were about ready to have another 3 wide situation. Now the goal here for Sinclair and Stouffer is to hook up and start slingshotting back and forth to each other, so that they can try to build a gap to these other cars, and they're going to need that because the final stops for Hollybaugh, Brazil, and Burrell, they're going to be much, much shorter than those for Guillermo, Nara, Stover, and Sinclair. So kind of keep an eye on that. Here comes Vitor Guillermo. He's going to come down the pit lane. Tobias Nara is going to go one more time. Here comes Hollybaugh. Here comes Brazil. 3 wide.
I get the camera on that. So we got stuff happening on pit road and stuff going into turn 1. MAB and Hollenbaugh, two guys that have raced each other many times here in the community. Down the backstretch, MAB comes up to fill the middle, not give a lot of room or as much room to Hollenbaugh. And then also part of the picture, there is the general. He is in 4th.
Yeah, now he's going to have to be careful because Tobias Nara is going to come into the pit lane in any he's going to be doing the pit lane anytime. He's working lap 36. Meanwhile, Matt Hollybaugh, he's going to drop to the inside.
General 3 wide and the 1. This is dangerous.
Wow.
Burrell is our points leader. He needs to come out with good points out of this event.
Yeah, and you saw Kevin lift. 52 to go, probably not the time. If you're not absolutely confident in the car on the bottom.
There are
the
points, by the way, on the screen. No, we'll get back to the action. It's Burrell, Moore, and Egan. Rateau, Sophie, Morera, Weiser, Olivia, Dahl, and Ty Quilla, your top 10. We'll get that off. Hope everyone got a solid name they wanted to see. We'll get that off the screen. Get back to the racing at hand. Side by side going into 1. It is Hollenbaugh and Brazil. Hollenbaugh still has a while before he needs to come to pit road. Although,
if you're Burrell,
yeah,
if you're Burrell, do you want to try and make a move right now, or do you want to try and wait until maybe 20 to go and try and make a move and get to the front? I mean, like you mentioned, Gary, he's the points leader at the moment, so he's got to have that in the back of his mind.
If I know Kevin, Ryan, and I know Kevin pretty well, he is saving as much fuel as he can to make that last stop as short as possible. I have a mind to think that somebody in that group, Hollybaugh, Brazil, Burrell, Valentin, Potter, they're going to make that last stop gas only and try to steal the race.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad shout of just taking fuel only, because, I mean...
Black flag for Tobias Nara, by the way, coming off a pit road, speeding.
And that's a killer because he's going to have to come back in.
Yeah, that's day done. That is day done. Unless he can catch a caution right here while he's on pit road, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's going to go down a lap.
Now, do want to point out Sinclair, Guillermo, and Stover are all working together. Stover and Sinclair are doing the work. Guillermo is letting them do it. They are running 41. They are running exactly the same time as the leader. That's important because they are outside of the draft envelope of Hollybaugh and Brazil, who are also quasi working together. And so that means that when everything shakes out here, it's going to be status quo, Gary.
Yeah.
The question is going to be, is somebody like an MAB, like a Hollybaugh, Kevin Burrell, Louis Valentin, is somebody going to take a short fill? Because everybody's going to have to stop again after this, you would think. Is somebody going to take a short fill, Gary?
Here's Valentin to the top. As he comes underneath MAB. He goes to the lead in 1, bringing Aurelio Brazil with him. Then Burrell in 3rd, Hollenbaugh in 4th, Rylan Potter in 5th. And let's look a little bit further back. We got Loren Archibald, who was in one of our earlier incidents. He is in 6th. Pally Bay worked their way up to 7th. Will Weiser in the Formula One livery that we will continue to give him grief about is in 8th. Jason Wallet in 9th. And Cameron Emerson in 10th. And we see a 3-wide battle just behind him with Dryling, Simino, and Pimbo. I think, let's look at Jason Wallet there. Is he in a, okay, I almost looked like a Jimmy Johnson livery, and I was going to give him grief for that, because that used to be the go-to. So all the NASCAR drivers, when they come over to IndyCar, they always bring with them an NASCAR livery, and lately it's been Larson, but back in the day, there always used to be a lot of Jimmy liveries that you used to see in the lineup. But Jason's a long time. I've seen him in the many community races, so he knows the deal. He knows he needs to show up in either his custom livery or IndyCar livery. Otherwise, we give you grief, and it's only out of fun.
That is Drexel. That is the Drexel eSports team, Gary.
Okay.
Drexel University eSports for Jason Wallet. Drexel student, very rapid guy. He doesn't tend to make a lot of the top splits just because the price of poker is huge now. But he's a very serviceable guy.
Oh, sorry, cars coming to pit road. Valentin, MAB, Pally Bay, also Cameron Emerson in the 21 red, white, and blue American flag car coming down to make next to last stops.
That leaves the General and Matt Hollybaugh are two of probably the most experienced drivers in this field as the leaders. The problem for them is going to be Stouffer, Sinclair, and Guillermo are out there running a second a lap faster. They have really backed the pace down, and I don't know if it could be here comes Hollybaugh.
Here comes Hollybaugh right now with Jason Wallet.
Yeah. Well, is Burrell thinking, maybe I can get to that 38 laps for the tank and somehow make this on just one more stop? It's a huge, tall ask, but he's going pretty slow out there, G.
Yeah, let's take a look at last lap mile per hour speeds. 219, 219, 219, 220 with Weiser. He's the fastest car in the first 4. And if Kevin doesn't come down pit road, we'll ride with him on this lap. Everyone behind him coming to pit road pretty much, other than Will Weiser and Burrell. Oh, cars into the wall coming into pit road. That is Dryling, I believe. Nope, I can't tell. That is Pimbo in the Verizon, Will Power Verizon livery.
It is Nicholas Pimbo. You are exactly right. He is the car that is sideways in the pit lane. You also had, I believe, the number 10 of Lane Hosler was the other car involved.
Oh, he also comes hard on the brakes here, and I think he gets booted from behind. Yes, he does get booted behind by the 14. 14 almost takes out the other Simino, 14, yeah. Simino.
Yeah.
Yep, and Burrell's into the pits.
And the sun is out. Weiser is still on the racetrack. So Weiser is going to go the longest here. And this is maybe going to bode well for him. Look at Kevin Burrell hitting pit road. Look as he's right there on the line. That makes that pit stop just a little bit quicker. And he's down and away.
Weiser did get some help, boys, because he came out with the draft of the two 14 cars in front of him, or one of the 14 cars in front of him. He made the move around that car, but he's going to go for his 38th lap. And this is the longest that I've ever seen anybody run it, that I've seen somebody run it. Alex Van de Zandt
he got really close. I think he did 39, was coming to 40 when he hit pit road. And that is 40 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Oh, as Gerken was taking a look underneath Weiser there, because I think Gerken's on fresh tires and he wants to go. Weiser might be trying to save some fuel. I think he's coming into the pits this time, but
No,
40
he's
laps
coming.
here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is 100 miles.
Yeah, and Weiser gets the black flag, speeding too fast on pit lane. You saw the puff of smoke come off the fronts, and too fast for Will Weiser.
Oh, and that is day done. And he actually just punches out. And, yeah, I don't blame him.
That does. Now, all of that put Kevin Burrell in the lead from Matt Hollibaugh and MAB. The Sinclair, Stover, and Guillermi trio runs 6th, 7th, and 9th. Pally Bay splits them in 8th. We're 3 wide for the lead one more time, and it's 3 veterans this time. Brazil in the bottom, Hollibaugh in the middle. The General backs out of the top.
So if you're just joining us, you're watching coverage of round 6 of 16 of the IIS Saturday Top Split presented by 4D Racewear, coming to you from the world's greatest race course here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've completed now 85 of the 125 scheduled laps. You're enjoying today's coverage. We'd like to monetarily support our commentary team. Make sure you donate via our GoFundMe link in the description. You can also send us super chats as well. We realize times are tough, so no matter the amount you are able to donate, we certainly do appreciate it. We do this for free on behalf of the community. Getting into the late stages here of this race. Caution on the racetrack.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. It's Pally Bay. Backwards in the South Chute toward turn number 2.
We will see. Right behind Pally is one of the Leaner Energy entries. And that might be Vitor, and Vitor clips her. Oh, and it failed the rear wing, and she did exactly what Mario Andretti did. And I think when he had a rear wing failure at Milwaukee going into the turn, and you just lose all downforce when you turn that wheel. There's nothing to hold that back into the car down, and it sends Pally right into the wall.
Yeah, that's a very odd circumstance to have happened. You do not see that very often. A netcode contact makes the rear wing on Pally Bay. Backward into the pit, Pally goes. Was the to Guillermo's?
You're kind of breaking up. You're our resident Cylon from Battlestar Galactica in the 1970s. So you're kind of breaking up. But see if your connection's okay, and get back into you can get back into the broadcast. But Pally Bay into the wall, losing with a complete rear wing failure with that contact. I believe that was Vitor. Yeah, Vitor Guillermi got into the back of her. And Pally into the wall. Yeah, I'll take that back. I don't know if Pally is a he or she. I shouldn't say him or her. I don't know. Pally, let me know sometime what your pronoun preferences are, please. So I will continue with they, them until I know otherwise. But unfortunately, day done for Pally Bay in the Toyota, the 80s Toyota livery. Very that's kind of their signature livery that we always see them in every week. And their day is done. Everyone coming to pit road. Vitor is going to stay out.
Indeed. I would point out that the contact was forgiven on Vitor Guillermi, and so the front wing popped back in.
It did.
Just a tough net code break for Pally there.
And also staying out in the 10 car is Lane Holster. Now, excuse me. We have not talked about Lane at all. He is in a Connor Daly throwback from many years ago in that U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds livery. Thunderbolts is the movie. Thunderbirds livery. That is their Air Force stunt team. They fly F-16s. And he is moved, Lane has moved their way up to second on the racetrack, staying out up 24 spots. And they're going to roll the dice here a little bit.
Yeah, why not? Everybody's still going to have to make one more stop unless you are a champion balloon foot here. You're certainly not going to be able to go very fast. Remember, Kevin Burrell, he was over a second slower than those pursuing him while he was out on that long strategy. So theoretically, you could make it from here, Gary, but you're going to have to do a lot of coasting. Vitor Guilherme, he doesn't have to worry about that. He gets to put it on kill.
And also coming to pit road, that is David Enger, who's had a bit of a rough day. Oh, interesting. Matt Hollenbaugh makes a last-second decision to come to pit road for a stop. And we'll pick him up into the interview room here when he rejoins the racetrack and get his thoughts on this late stop. But he is, I don't know if he's going to go for the full stop or just top off the tank. We'll see as he gets to his pit slot, and it's a top off. It is a top off from Matt Hollenbaugh. Yep. So let's go ahead and bring him up one more time. Hey, Matt, we got you back up here under caution. We just saw you hit pit road for the top off. See a little bit of strategy, gave up some race track position. I think you're thinking that you're done. You're not going to need to come to pit road anymore, or is this just making things a little bit safer for you?
You got it right the first time. Like, I'm going to try and make it to the end whether it kills me or not. I'm scared, guys. I'm terrified. Logan Edwards just blue texted me saying GL. So, like, I'm just like, if this thing goes green, I think I got it.
Hang on, we're not going green.
Oh, we're not going green. We're not going green. So something else happened on the racetrack.
Delayed green helps you out, doesn't it, Matt? Just that much, a little bit more, right?
Yeah, although it also helps everyone that hit the lap before me, so
yes.
I'm back here. I might top off again.
I can't identify it. Olivier Simonu is on pit road with a meatball, but I don't see what the reason for the delayed green was, Gary.
I don't know. Oh, Pally. Okay, so Olivier Simonu. Hey, Matt, good luck. We'll get you out of the channel so you can get some business done here. But thanks for hanging around.
Thanks, guys.
All right. He stopped on the racetrack. He stopped on the racetrack in the racing line, and that will and I've only seen this happen on 2 occasions, once in the ISRA just a couple of weeks ago, and once here where a car stops on the racetrack. I think when they're coming to green, that delays the green flag by another lap, and I don't know. That might be protestable. I don't know. But
it could be.
It
could be now, Matt.
Go ahead.
It could be now. Hollenbaugh comes back in, as does MAB. Marco Brazil is in. Tobias Nara comes in. He's going to top it up. So we did have some more takers come into there. But yes, that is 100% protestable if you stop on the racing line under caution. You better have a reason, especially if it manipulates the outcome of the race. That can definitely be something that gets sent in. I don't see how it really affects anything other than it gives Hollenbaugh and Brazil a chance to top back up one more time. The guys that stopped at lap 88, they're still going to have to stretch. The good news for those guys is they've got Guilherme and Hosler up there to kind of tow them around, but they do not want to lead this race. If you're one of those guys that stopped at 88, you do not want to lead this. Ryan, what's your thought?
Yeah, I have to say I do agree with that. I mean, I think as well this caution, like Matt mentioned, it probably helps a few other drivers as well around him or in front of him. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how the rest of this race plans out as we're back to green.
We got modern experience in Vitor with the Leader Energy Squad. They race a lot of Indy cars in the sim. He is your leader. We do not know much about Lane Holzer, but Lane is the 10th highest iRating driver in this race. So he knows what they are doing on an oval, but we just never seen Lane in an IndyCar. And Lane's going to take a shot to the inside, coming down the backstretch into 3. On the corner closest to Noblesville, the Noblesville livery takes the lead.
Noblesville, Indiana, of course, a suburb of Indianapolis, one of the nicer ones.
That's where Connor Daly is from. That's also where I'm from.
Up that way. So you're not you're the Noblesville corner, not the Geist corner or the Carmel corner.
No. I'm a Noble. I tell you what, I'm an Indianapolis born and bred, but we moved up to Noblesville, and that's where I attended high school. So I'm kind of Noblesville, but I still prefer to call myself from Indianapolis.
Indeed, indeed. Looks like Guillermo and Hosler are going to try to trade the lead here. Meanwhile, Luis Valentin has got past Kevin Burrell. The general, I got to believe that he and Christopher are literally peddling those two Dolares for all they're worth. They've got a break between themselves and Maddie Sinclair, Laurent Achenbach, Altenblad, Ryland Potler, Cameron Emerson, Jason Wallet.
And Laurent, we're sorry for
Laurent.
We're sorry for butchering your name. Just pop into the P1 Discord, send us a DM on how to say it going forward. We are the butchers of name. If we are anything but consistent, that is one thing we are consistent with. Vitor, your leader. And again, he has a lot of experience along with his team. We do not know about the experience of Lane, but he is a 10th ranked highest driver in this field. Then Luis Valentin. We don't know much about Luis Valentin in this in the community either, but he is the 9th ranked driver. And then we have Burrell and Stouffer. Lots of starts in these cars.
Yeah, Vitor Guillermi may not be a name that you're familiar with seeing in top split officials, but having raced him in, series like Area 51, Dark Horse, he is a fast dude. And so he's got a lot of speed. If he doesn't have a lot of iRating, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as this race goes. I'm still keeping the corner of my eye, though, on P12 and 13. MAB, Matt Hollybaugh, they're going to be awfully tough as this comes down, when this gets time to talk turkey, Gary, because they've got the extra fuel on.
Here's MAB on the inside of Maddie Sinclair, down in the 1, clears Sinclair pretty easily. Move MAB up to 11, Sinclair back to 12, Hollenball holding station in 13th. Tobias Nara, he also stopped at the same time as MAB and Maddie, and is on roughly the same schedule. Can he move up and also do pretty well here when in the late stages of this race? Coming to 5 laps short of 100 laps here very shortly. Up in the front, Vitor to the inside of Lane and clears him. South end of the racetrack in through turn 2, right in front of the suites. Those are the original racing suites in auto racing. Also used to be suites attached to the Speedway Hotel or Speedway Motel back in the day. You could actually spend the night there if you wanted to, and that's where several drivers did when they would come for the month of May. They would get a room at the motel there. No longer a motel. Vitor coming through the road.
Vitor Guillermi coming in. The Speedway Motel, the rooms there are Speedway Motel rooms on the undersides of the suites that still exist. If you want to see what one of those looks like, take a step back into the 1950s. Doug Bowles did a video where he uses one of those rooms during the month of May as a place to hang his clothes, because I'm fairly certain that man does not sleep during the month of May, but he has use of one of those rooms during the month of May, and it is literally 1960 Holiday Inn.
Yep. I mean, that's the era that was built, the 50s and 60s. It was still in business even into the 80s. I remember, I forget what we were doing. I was a kid. It was the day of the 1980 Indy 500. Again, I'm showing my age here. Here comes Kevin Burrell the second. I think we had to go to the airport maybe to take a family member to the airport. Airport is on that side of town near the Speedway. And my dad said that night, you want to drive by the track and, see what it looks like after the race. And I'm like, sure, I'm 6 years old. I thought it was the greatest thing, right? So we drive by, and I remember the Speedway Motel had a marquee sign that they would slap the letters on, and they would make, vacancy, no vacancy. Here comes Lane, the pit road. And it said up on the sign, "Congratulations, Johnny Rutherford." I remember seeing that vividly as a kid when we drove by the place. So I know it was open into the 80s. I think they closed it when they converted a lot of that stuff into clubhouse for the Brickyard Crossing golf course in the 90s. But I think it was open definitely into the 80s.
Oh, it was open much later than that. It was open into the 2000s.
Okay, good.
It was open into the 2000s. I did stay there once. And it was vintage 1960s Holiday Inn. The hot and cold water did not mix together. And there was a button inside each of the rooms where, and you can see it when Doug Bowles does his thing, where you can turn a button and have the track public address piped into your room.
I believe it.
That was the coolest thing. And of course, you know, in the middle of October, it didn't work.
Whoa,
but
yeah. Down the backstretch, it is Valentin Burrell side by side. And here comes Jason Wallet. He is just going to full send that thing.
Nobody wants to lead. Nobody wants to lead, Gary. They've got 25 laps. They're going to have to make it 37. They want to be at the front of the race. They want to be second.
Dreiling and Laurent.
Okay, so that's
so much for that. Yeah, that's so much for that.
Well, maybe. So you had to make 30. You had to make 30.
Ooh.
You had to make 37 laps.
Oh.
You're still going to have to save a little bit. This doesn't put those guys in the clear. I'll tell you who it does put in the clear is Brazil and Hollybaugh.
Let's ride from Dustin Gherkin's point of view. Back in 16th, he's 5 laps down, had a bit of a rough day, but got a little bit of sunshine on his day, blessed on him here as they're 3 wide, a couple cars deep in front of him. And you're going to see where this incident happened, as there was a lot of checking up going on there, and a little bit of a different line by 2 cars, and they come to a point of contact in turn 4 right there. Watch this right in front of Gherkin. And actually, there's another red, white, and blue car out there. I'm not sure who that is. Trying to see who that is in the other red, white, and blue car. I think that was Cameron Emerson. Yeah, it's Cameron Emerson. So watch this right in front of Cameron Emerson. We got 2 red, white, and blue cars out there. Sorry about that. But here we go. And you see one on the bottom, and he just dirty air, and that's going to make it tough for him to get in. Not only a shallow entry, and then they just 2 cars kind of meet, and it happens right in front of Emo there. And yes, we will call him Emo. And Emerson stays out, by the way. And he will pick up the lead here in the late stages at lap 102 of 125.
Yeah, and so Cameron Emerson stays out. Brazil and Hollybaugh stay out. That's kind of the given, because they're good on fuel. The rest of these guys, they're going to be on short tanks with fresh tires. And Ryan Walker, that changes the handling a bit, doesn't it?
It does, and I think with the Corsair as well, I think it probably, people that were maybe further back, maybe thinking they were out of contention, I think it sort of brings them back into it as well. So, yeah, I think just about to come to the end of lap 102, and yeah, not too long left in this race, and I think. I don't know if you guys agree. This is pretty much where it starts to get a bit feisty, and everyone will be more elbows out now because everyone wants to try and win or try and do as well as possible.
Yeah, if before nobody wanted to lead, now it's going to be a land rush to see who can lead.
Everybody up to the front. David Enger coming into pit road to kind of get out of the way from everybody, but he is 7 laps, or excuse me, David is now 10 laps down. Just a rough day, but still rolling. But our leader is Cameron Emerson. Go ahead.
Now, with the temperatures, it is very likely that you're going to see with these low temps, light fuel, and new tires, it is quite possible that you could see 3 wide all the way around here for the next 21 laps. It is very possible, Gary.
91 degrees on the track temp, 73 on the air temperature. Emerson, Brazil, Hollenball, Vitor, and Hostler, your top 5. Sinclair, Burrell, Wallet, Stouffer, Valentine, your top 10. everybody on the lead lap is the top 13. Olivier Simoneau in the Pimax car is the last car on the lead lap and 13th. Everybody, unless they're damaged and we don't know about it, I'm going to say everybody in the top 13 has a shot at this thing. We are one big wreck away from the mid-pack all of a sudden becoming the leaders. One big wreck away from shrinking this field up. One more time for a sprint to the finish here as we're coming to 22 to go. So do not go anywhere. Stay in your seats. Keep everything tuned here. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching us. Next time you see the IIS, next weekend, we'll be in Detroit at the preferred Detroit road course, Belle Isle. That's next weekend, same time, same channel. Green flag getting ready to fly with 22 to go here in the Indy 500K.
Green, green, green.
100%. Now, Cameron Emerson is going to be a sitting duck here. Marco Brazil and Matt Hollybaugh should blow him away pretty quick. Brazil and Hollybaugh are going to want to get by, and they're going to want to get gone. They're almost going to want to work together because Vitor Guilherme is behind them. We know he's got the pace. We know Lane Hosler's got pace. The tires and fuel, though, they're all the way back in P6.
And MAB has caught him in the 3. Now he's caught him. Now he needs to pass him. Coming to 21 to go. Oh, car in the wall, big time. Valentin off of 4. I don't know if that was a big lick, and we're 3 wide down at the yard of bricks.
Oh. I thought I was going to end up in a big accident there, but somehow they all survive.
They are slicing and dicing back there. I got to wonder if Valentin's car is damaged at all. But we're going down the front stretch now, and it's Vitor to the lead. MAB second. Emerson now back to third. Hollenball fourth. Matty Sinclair in fifth.
Watching Matt Hollybaugh and Marco Brazil here is kind of like watching twinsies. Did you see how they both popped at exactly the same time?
Yeah.
Going down the front straight. Hollybaugh can't quite dispose of Cameron Emerson now. He's under fire from the general, Kevin Burrell. Burrell is trying to work his way forward. We know there's plenty of fuel on board. The number 3, we're not quite so sure about everybody around him, but the fuel and tires have arrived, Gary.
And the fuel and tires, Burrell, Sinclair, Stouffer, those 3 specifically up in that group. MAB to the front. Getting dicey back here with Naha and Naha. I'm hopefully saying that right. Nara, and Potter. Also Wallet. It's Potter and Nara and Potter side by side through the north end of the racetrack. Here comes Hollenball. Now he tucks back in. Stouffer getting a run to the inside. MAB wants the lead again.
These moves are only going to be coming later and more desperate as time winds down. We've got 17 laps to go. It's fairly tame as of right now.
3 wide is not tame. Going into 3. And Kevin wisely backs out, gets back in line, and is going to give the corner to Vitor one more time. Maybe Kevin takes a stab at him down the front stretch. Getting a run, getting to go to the inside. And we got a car coming to pit road, and that is Valentin. Valentine shows a meatball flag. So whatever damage he got in the wall is showing that he needs to consult pit road and get it looked at. So his day is done.
Big move from the top to the bottom. Big move from the top to the bottom by Vitor Guilherme. He almost got the front wing of Chris Stouffer. He's going to look at Kevin Burrell, but Burrell's looking at Brazil. We're going to be 3 wide one more time. I don't think Kevin's going to lift this time, though. He'll take the lead through at turn 3. Guillermo to second. Move Marco Brazil back to third, maybe. Now watch what Kevin does here coming off the corner. Well, he didn't get a chance to do it. You were about to see interpersonal relationships and past conflict come into play with whatever draft Kevin Burrell tried to give down the front straight. But Guillermo cleared Brazil and made it a moot point. Now Guillermo goes back by Kevin Burrell. So it's Guillermo Burrell, Brazil, Stouffer, Matt Hollibaugh, and I got to believe the winner is going to come from one of those 5, Gary.
You got a Brazilian, we got an American in Japan, we have another Brazilian, we have an American, and we have an American. That is your top 5 right there.
And here's my question. Go ahead.
Do we count Kevin as Japan or United States?
I said American in Japan.
Okay.
Just like when they introduced Pat McAfee in the WWE, they call him from West Virginia by way of Indianapolis.
I thought they were going to say he's from he's American by way of West Virginia.
Well, I guess that's true.
There goes Kevin Burrell.
Here's the general. Were you wanting to say something there, Ryan?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question to Mark. In this situation, if you're Burrell, where would you rather be heading into the last lap? Would you rather be first, second, third, or maybe would you prefer to be in second to have a better chance of getting that slipstream to the line?
So my philosophy here is to get to the lead with 4 to go, try to get to the bottom and hold the bottom. You never know what's going to happen in terms of a yellow light late, and so you don't want to be laying second, because the yellow comes out, the race is over. So you want to try to get to the lead when you get 4 to go, and then you want to get to the bottom of the racetrack and make the other cars drive around you. If you're anywhere else, it's awfully difficult to hold a car back. It's awfully difficult to pass a car that has a determined hold on the bottom. So that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good thing, because I've never really been in this position much, apart from the odd race in the IndyCar's oval series or fixed oval fixed setup series. So
whoa.
It's a three wide moment.
We're riding for the Robbie Gordon cam on Matt Hollenball's car, and there was no place to go. If they wadded up, Matt was going to be in that, because car in front of him
trying to wide it up.
Nara into the wall off of 4, I think. Now we're going to go 3 wide into 1. Stouffer down low. You can trust him.
The thing is, when you get down under 5 to go here, Ryan, and you're one of those top 4 or 5 cars, anybody has a chance to win it. The best chance comes from the front, but it's really a roll of the dice. I mean,
very loose for Vitor down on the bottom through 3.
I had the in the fixed 500 I ran, I had the lead coming to turn 3 on the inside on the last lap. 4 wide now. It maybe he backs out. I had the lead coming to turn 3, 2 corners to pay dirt, and didn't make it out of the North Chute. Matt Hollibaugh, myself, and a couple other guys had a spirited battle in the open top split race that I ran, and it came out with me on top. It's just it's so hard to predict it, but I would much rather be in front. I think you control more of your own destiny that way.
Yeah, from my experience of doing the Indy 500 races, especially the Major Series Indy 500 back in 2023, I was in a kind of a swap battle. I was about to go 4 wide and come on, oh my god, oh, I can't watch this, guys.
Well, we haven't even started yet. They're going to run the last 2 laps like that.
We're got 10 to go. Now, I'm going to give MAB a lot of credit in this race. He has shown now he's going to take a stab to the inside of Vitor here. He has shown a lot of patience in this race. He is not known, at least in my experience seeing him on the racetrack, he's not known for showing a lot of patience, and he's shown a lot of patience, at least up to this point.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Jason Wallet.
Wow. Shots to the inside. Well, lack of patience. Here comes MAB to the front down low.
But again, it's also a function of these guys knowing a lot about each other and having raced with each other on numerous occasions. Marco Brazil and Kevin Burrell, they've run hundreds of these things together. Vitor Guilherme, same way. I mean, Vitor and Marco run a Brazilian league together, and then you've got Christopher and Matt Hollibaugh. You know how many hundreds of races are there, under the belts of these guys? And it's as you always say, Gary, the cream rises to the top. It's the experience that comes to the front, and it's going to be the experience going 3 wide. One more time, Marco to the bottom, Burrell in the middle, Guilherme on top, Stouffer and Hollibaugh 2 wide behind him. Hollibaugh will get 4th. And they're not yet being aggressive, I don't think.
Oh, I've got three wide. Oh.
And that is threading the needle, because the hole wasn't there, and then the hole became very, very small and evident, and Vitor went for it.
The hole became open because they opened it for him. They saw him there.
Oh, corner coming off the corner. That's Matty Sinclair, and he's going to come back onto the racetrack, and we're going to go caution with 8 to go.
Ooh, doggies. Okay, so 21-2. We're going to have a 2-lap shootout by my Ball State math, Gary. 2 laps to decide the Indianapolis 500K in the iRacing IndyCar Series. Do you have plenty of Rolaids handy?
Ouch. Well, I think Sinclair could use a Rolaid to spell relief, because he is just tagged the wall a little bit and then shot to the inside into the Ari Lyondike barrier there, and immediately toes. And unfortunately, a good day for him, starting 3rd, is done, and he was up at the front all day today. But now we are under caution. Pace car is out. We are going to get a handful of laps to go before we are going to finish this under green, hopefully. But we will actually have only a handful of laps to go when we do resume this race. I'm going to point out an interesting statistic. I forgot to mention it 3 laps ago. Since 2010, the leader of the Indy 500 with 10 to go has failed to win the race on 10 different occasions. It's very clear here today. It's not who's leading at lap or with 10 to go. It's going to be who is leading with 1 or 2 to go and who is in second. That driver might be in the best position to get a win here in the closing stages here of this 500K at Indianapolis. And the field is shrinking up here as some people are coming to pit road. But I think they're giving up too much track position here in the closing stages, even with fresh tires and light tanks. I'm not sure if they can get a run and get up to the front here with the time we have left.
Yeah, if it was maybe with 10 laps to go or 20 laps to go, I would have dived into the pits. I mean, maybe then you've got nothing to lose, and on fresh tires as well. You can pretty much go for it. But if you're up at the front like these guys, with only maybe 2 laps to go when they get back to green, I think you just stay out, because you're in with a chance of winning. So, and if you decide to pit, you're just kind of just biting yourself in the foot. But what do you do if you're Kevin Burrell? I think if you're Kevin Burrell, before you get back going to green, I think you've got to try and get close to the car in front of you and try and not let him get the jump on you, because if he catches you out, you're just pretty much blowing your chance.
Hey, real quick, let's pay some bills here before we go back to green. Today's coverage is brought to you by 4D Racewear, the sponsor here of Chris Stouffer's machine. Check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on their link in the stream description. P1 Broadcasting is also proud to announce a brand new Crown Jewel level event for the iRacing IndyCar community, a 600-kilometer, 186-lap battle at Michigan International Speedway on June 7th, 2025. An all-star invite-only roster of the IndyCar iRacing community will take the grid competing for over $400 in prizes. Stay tuned for more details. And actually, Mark, you're here right now. You can probably talk about that real quick. The entry application, he can tell you all about that. But June 7th in Michigan will be a race to remember right here on P1.
Yes, it will. So we are sitting currently at 30 entries. So there are a few spots available if you want to come run for my money. There are links in the P1 Discord. There's also, I've been putting it in the Indy Open Discord, in the community Discord, as well as the Indy Fixed Discord. And so we're going to accept entries until June the 1st. We're going to set the field, and it is going to be a dash for the cash, $100 to the winner, payouts all the way down to 10th place. There's going to be an award for the pole winner, one for the fastest lap of the race, and we're going to do one for the hard chart, or one for halfway, excuse me, and one for the hard charger. And so do look forward to seeing everybody in the community take their shot at my cash. It's going to be a race, as Gary said, for the books, one to remember. And this race here is shaping up to be one to remember too, Gary.
Coming to green this time by those that stopped. We're back in 10th spot. Wallet, Potter, Valentine, although I think Valentine is 3 laps down. So Wallet and Potter are the 10th and 11th. They went for the fresh tire approach here. Have nothing to lose being that far back. We'll watch and see how they can do this here in 4 laps. It is 10 miles as a qualifying run to decide the Indy 500K here in the IAS. Your leader is Vitor Guilherme, followed by Kevin Burrell, the general, Matt Hollenball in 3rd, Marco Brazil in 4th, and Tobias Nara in 5th. Green flag, here we go. Big lead on the restart from Vitor, but that's just going to allow Kevin Burrell to get a big run on him, and MAB on the inside of Hollenball going in the 1 on the restart.
And I think if you're Kevin Burrell at this point, towards the end of the race, you just throw the kits and sink at it and go for it. If you get a run on the leader, you try and make a move if you can. I think at this point it's advantage Burrell as Vitor tries to break the slipstream.
They call it the Dragon in IndyCar Racing, but I still call it the Snake. Down the backstretch, now in the 4. Kevin with a big line on the high side, decides he's going to get a big run. He is going to suck right up to the back of Vitor's car. Vitor to the inside here at the Yard of Bricks, trying to protect. Here comes MAB. Here comes Kevin Burrell. Burrell sends it. MAB is going to follow on through. Hollenball on the high side in the dirty air by Vitor.
Going to come down to Kevin Burrell or Vitor Guilherme. Halaba, he's going to try to work to the inside of MAB going down the backstretch. We've got Tobias Nara. He's going to send it 3 wide.
Burrell on the inside. Vitor takes the lead. And a number of times a driver named Vitor getting so close at Indianapolis and falling short. Vitor Mira, I think, had top 2 finishes here. And here comes Nart. Tobias to the inside. Sends it.
And I think Burrell's going to be at a disadvantage because everyone behind's getting a run on him.
Now, Tobias to the inside, trying to protect. Here comes Stouffer. Stouffer's thinking about taking it 4 wide. We go 3 wide, 2 rows deep, just like the start of the 500. Coming to the white flag, this time by Tobias, your leader, Burrell in 2nd, Stouffer now 3rd, Vitor 4th, Hollenball 5th. It is up for grabs. Anyone has it, and we see debris flying, and that is Vitor has lost part of his front wing, and he's going to go up the racetrack, and he's going to block MAB into the wall. They are out of this now. It is Nara, Burrell, Hollenball, Stouffer. That is going to be who decides this race. Nara below the white line off of 2, staying glued on the white line down the backstretch. Not coming off the bottom. Someone's going to try the high line. Oh, there's contact between Stouffer and Burrell. Burrell is forgiven. He gets the front wing back. Here comes Hollenball to the finish here off of corner number 4. Nara to the inside. Here comes Kevin Burrell. I think Burrell's going to get a run. Here comes... Oh my goodness, it is Hollenball. I thought Burrell might have had a little extra draft there to get it. Tobias was a sitting duck, had no one to draft off of, and he just had to protect the inside line as best he could. He did all he could, and he comes home 3rd. The margin of victory is 0.012 of a second for Burrell and 0.014 of a second for Tobias Nara. Wow. Wow.
Boys, I do need to run.
All
I'm
right.
being called.
That is fine.
by the,
That is fine. I told you to give us till 4 o'clock. It is right there. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend and enjoy your Indy 500. Oh, by the way, who's winning the Indy 500? Your prediction?
Larson.
Okay, boo. Anyways, get out of here.
Later, Gary.
See ya. And let's get you today's final standings. And again, I want to thank Enzo Music for giving us permission to use their rendition of the Delta Force theme. Good guy. Check out their channel and subscribe to it. Enzo Music. Hollenball with the win. Burrell second. That's going to really help him in points, even though this wasn't the highest strength of field so far this weekend. Nara comes home third. Emerson fourth. Simino in the Pimax headset that we know he's racing in. He's in fifth. Jason Wallet sixth. Hustler in seventh. Vitor Garami in eighth. MAB ninth. Potter in 10th. Stouffer, unfortunately, did not make it out the other end of turn 3. Comes home 11th. Valentin, big race for him. Up front all day today. Did a couple full sends on some people. Comes home 12th. Gherkin 13th. Sinclair with that moment off of 4. Showing 15th, but I believe he's going to be 14th because Pimbo, Nicholas comes home in 15th as well. So I think Sinclair's 14th, Pimbo 15th, Enger 16th, Dryling 17th, Laurent, Durunga, and Pally Bay, your top 20. Will Weiser, Tyquilla, Edwards, Santos, 3 guys in the community members that have a lot of starts in these cars. Rashad Craig also. A lot of starts in these cars, just days they did not have very good ones. Days they wish not to remember. That is your top 25. Alexander Strauss and Ferguson, your top 28. Fergie won earlier in the week and comes home last in this one. So he'll want to audit this one out for sure. All right, and Nara, I don't know who we're going to have available for interviews, so we'll just take who we got if anyone shows up. Just queue up some replays, and then we'll get into the interview room. Try this again. All right. All right, we'll get to the interview room here. I know we will at least have Matt, and we also will have Kevin. But if we have Tobias, that would be awesome if he was there. I don't see him. That's too bad. We do have Kevin Burrell. We will bring up the general right now. And here is Kev. You're on mute. Good to have you here. Congratulations on the P2. So close there at the end. I thought maybe you might have had a run very similar to what we saw Kraus when he won the Open 500. Get that run on the high side coming down to the checkered flag. And just so close, 0.012. But for someone that's kind of in the mid-pack and then kind of got up in the top 5 there in the late stages and then fighting for the lead there when it really counted, you were kind of playing your cards, being very patient here, very Rick Mears-like approach to this 500K. Talk about your race.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing here was just trying to steer clear without saying the wrong thing. Sometimes I found myself around cars that I was afraid of being around. I was like, oh, like netcode related. I was like, I've just got to I'm just gonna keep my nose clean for a long time. And at the end, I mean, when the temps are this cold, you just have to fight as hard as you can to remain in the lead, especially after the restart at the end. I knew any caution at that point could end it. And with a couple guys on, older tires, didn't really matter that much, but, just a tiny bit in terms of getting a run. At the end, I was like, I'm just going to try and get to the front every single time I can in the last 4 laps. And, I didn't quite get there. Matt and Tobias got through, but yeah, I mean, maybe if I'd gone to the left instead of the right at the end, I would have had to run. But that was pretty good. I felt good that I even got one of the spots back.
I actually ran out of words as you were coming to the checkered flag. As I saw you pop out, I'm thinking, oh, this is kind of a repeat of the Open Indy 500, the big broadcast
I really
there.
thought it could happen.
And I thought
close.
you could get there, and I just ran out of things to say, and then you got the second, but man, so close.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
Any sponsors, friends, families, shout outs, anybody you want to say hi to here on this this big race weekend? And before we also let you go, you got to give us your Indy 500 prediction.
I want. I don't know how much I actually believe it's going to happen, but I want to believe that Takuma Sato can do it. I want to believe it. He's got the experience. He knows how to make the right call at the right time with many years of experience. He's starting in an okay spot. We know how this track races nowadays, especially, I feel like that qualifying advantage combined with a lot of experience, I want to believe it can happen for him.
Thank you, and much of Japan. I feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, I want to thank, Fiercely Forward and P1 Docs and everybody. Obviously, now that we know the car is getting an update, it's exciting times. So maybe this track will be racing very differently next time we come here. So yeah, I guess that's basically it.
Let me ask you a follow-up question on that too, with the car getting an update. How do you feel about the car getting as major of an update it's going to get in the middle of the IAS season, seeing that you're the points leader?
That's crazy. I mean, I have no choice but to go to the setup mines. I'm gonna be I'm just, let's put it this way. I got my air conditioning fixed in my room that had been broken for maybe 2 months almost, and summer's coming up here in Japan. I'm very glad because I know I am going to be spending a lot of time in the lab working on sets. We just have no choice. We're coming right into it. The rest of IIS and Pro Series, it's all coming up. I mean, we haven't changed midweek, I think, for Gateway, right? So that's going to be track stand changed for Gateway midweek the way it's going. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited though. It should be fun.
All right. Well, congratulations on the P2. And I'm sure you'll be cheering for Sato along with the rest of Japan tomorrow as he starts on the front row at Indianapolis.
I'm gonna see if I can watch it at a bar somewhere or something. I really want to car fans.
That would be pretty cool to see. I know they went nuts when he won that first one when he beat Castro Neves. And then that second win wasn't as popular as the first one. Of course, that was during the empty stands race back in August of 2020. So I'm sure he wants another Japanese win where he has fans in the stands. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Japanese commentator for a lot of indie stuff, because he's only racing ovals now. It's they interview him and have him on commentary on the Japanese TV broadcast of it. So it's always fun. So yeah, I'm excited. So congrats to Matt, obviously, and yeah, see you guys around.
All right, we'll catch you at the next one when we get to Detroit here. It's only a week away.
I'm looking forward to that. See you around.
Yeah. And that is Matt, or that is Kevin. He is already out of the channel. Let's bring up, we'll bring up Justin. Here's Justin, and we'll bring up Matt, our winner. Matt Hollenball joins us in the booth. And you called your shot, sir. You said, I got a good feeling on this. I'm going to do it. And you brought the OMF #1 car to the #1 spot at the right time, coming to that checkered flag. Congratulations. It's like we rode with you all day long.
Yeah, I just so straight up, that last yellow, I thought I threw it away by not pitting. Like I didn't expect to be able to like still be contending for the win and be able to make that move out of turn 4 and just when I saw Birrell and Stouffer get together on my outside there, that's kind of when I realized, oh my god, I actually like I could do this. I just have to play it perfectly, and like it just on those older tires, I can't believe it stuck. Like just this cold weather, like I don't know. It's a blessing. It's a blessing for my race result today, but like it made cars that shouldn't have been up there way stronger up there, myself included, and I will just take that and run.
Some new names that you don't race with very often, kind of up at the front, especially as the field started to thin out. How did that dictate any thoughts of making certain moves? You're like, if I make a move here, he might not be expecting it. Instead, because I don't race this guy very often, but I'm racing Kevin. I'm racing Kevin a lot. He might expect this move. I'll set it on him, but maybe not set it on this other guy because he might not expect. Was there any type of intrepidation or hesitation that you had kind of racing some of these other names we don't see at the top of the lineup very often?
Honestly, no, not really. I just kind of raced everyone the way I'd race anyone. Like Marco, for sure, Marco Brazil. I typically give him a little bit more space, and I'm not going to elaborate on that over a broadcast.
I know what he's speaking of.
But beyond that, no, I just kind of raced everyone the same as I would.
Yeah.
I had to keep in mind I had older tires than everyone, and I wasn't going to be able to make like those quick moves like I typically would be able to if I was on equal or better tires. But no, for the most part, I just kind of raced everyone like I'd race anyone. I know that's what got me to the lead in the first place, or that's what got me up there in the first place. So why change that?
True. Yeah. What got you there is stick with it. Before shout-outs, your prediction for the Indy 500, sir.
Okay, so I'm part Japanese, so I have to root for my boy Taku.
Okay, that's two of you guys. Burrell is rooting for him, so that was his pick.
I'm also a big off-track listener, off-track with Hinch and Rossi, so I gotta still root for my boy Rossi.
Okay.
Third pick. You know what? I'm gonna cheer on my buddy Adam Blocker, who's crew chief of the number 76 car, and root on Connor Daly.
One of my fellow hometowners. I will. I can agree to that one. Well, those are your three. Any shout outs you got for fans, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to before we let you go? This big win. I know you've been wanting one of these wins. You maybe wanted it last weekend, but eventually you did visit Victory Lane here in Indianapolis during these big three weekends that we had these races at.
Yeah, it's always fun to actually to get in Victor Lane around here. Shout out to Doug South as always, OMF. Mike Hurley, who I know was watching that, he congratulated me on my win. P1 Docs for just supplying this incredible setup. It's the same setup I used in the 500, same setup I used in the Open on Monday. It just shines around this place, and I can't believe that they're offering something this good. So P1 Docs.
Yeah, the setup shops really came to play and
Conti for the Q set.
Yeah, they really came to play for the open weekends, and wow, I want to thank them for their attention on the series because it's always good when we have more people paying attention to these cars. Well, congratulations. The good news. You don't have to race at Indianapolis now for a while. I don't know any other leagues that are really spun up that have Indianapolis kind of up on the schedule anymore. I think it's going to be a while before we see our next Indianapolis race. I think everyone's had their fill, but you definitely got your fill of it here. Go get some milk. You know the deal. Go get some milk and put a video of you drinking it up on the IIS channel of the IndyCar Discord and show us you enjoying this win.
Heck yeah, will do.
Matt Hallball, big win here today at Indianapolis. We'll see you at the next one.
Right. Thanks, Aspect.
Justin, how did you do? The IIS ambassador, how did you do in your race?
I'm just gonna say this. It was ironic about me. One thing that was ironic about me and Hollabaugh. We both were car number 1. We started 4th. He won the race. I could have won, but let's just say it was with the cold temperatures and stuff, it was just absolute bonkers. There was an instance of 3 wide contact that happened that should have caused a big one. We made it through on that one going into turn 1. Then another instance, but this time it was 4 wide going into turn 1. And that should have been a big wreck. Somehow we all made it through. I got a little bit of damage up on the right side where the steering arm is, on the right front wheel, let alone suspension. 6 cautions for 19 of 125 laps, 45 lead changes. Finished 7th, and I'm just going to say this. As much as I would love to say, can I run this again? I've had enough of Indianapolis until next year. But next year, though, I'm just going to say this. Some already know. Some probably don't. I will not be able to run this race next year. I'll be running the Open Set 500, but not the IIS 500K, because next year
You'll be here.
I'll be pulling the rookie stripes off of being at the real 500.
All right, well, looking forward to that.
But other than that, that was probably some of the most stupid, chaotic, good racing. I'll just say that in terms of how to describe it. Next week, though, when we go to Belle Isle, I think we're probably gonna have some of our biggest SOF time slots, because that's gonna be the last ever race we have with the package that we have on now before we get everything in. And I was gonna say this. I am so looking forward to rain racing, because that's going to be, that is my speciality.
Prediction for the Indy 500.
Ooh. Dark horse, I'm going to say Rossi. Favorite, I'm going to say Dixon. We share the same birthday, except we're 9 years apart. He needs to end that bad luck streak and get that second Indy 500 win. So I'm going with Dixon on that one.
Okay. Ryan, final thoughts here at the Brickyard. Last race for us here at Indianapolis for a while. And a lot of these leagues, a lot of these guys have turned a ton of laps here over the last 3 weeks for sure, and probably a ton of laps leading into the last 3 weeks. Sounds like some people are tired of turning left on the 2.5 mile oval. They want to move on to something else, and I think a lot of the community and leagues are kind of going in that direction. Indianapolis done. Now it's time for the big boys to race themselves this Sunday. But final thoughts here on this race here on Saturday, the little race before the big race.
Yeah, this was an absolutely chaotic race. I mean, it was a great race to call, but yeah, there was just mayhem everywhere, and sometimes there was 3 wide, there was 4 wide for several points in the race as well, and somehow some of the drivers survived. But overall, it was a great race, and Detroit next week should be a good one as well. But it's always been one of my favourite tracks, and I think it's a great track with the IR18 as well. And I think next week it should be a good one with having most of the regulars back. And as for the last question, a prediction, I would like to see Dixon win it, but a part of me would love to see Alex Palou win it and get that monkey off his back.
Yeah, I will go ahead with my predictions as well. I'm going to go full heel, and I'll say Newgarden. I think he can do it, and I'd like to see someone get 3-0 at Rowe in my lifetime, and I would love to see someone eventually get a win from the back of the pack. We've seen it close on a couple of occasions, but I'd like to see someone from that last row get a win. Furthest back anyone has ever won the 500 is Louis Meyer and Ray Haroon, 28th, 1936, 1911. So it's time for someone to win a race from back there. I'm never going to root against Dixon, the old man. I'm an old man too, so I want to see him do well, get another win, and get another win closer to AJ Foyt's all-time win record. And I'm not going to be dumb and say I'm just going to ignore Alex Palou. He is the man that is on fire this season. He might be having one of those seasons for the record book, and really, he's got all those championships, but not a single oval win. He's the only IndyCar driver in the over 100-year history of IndyCar racing to have as many championships as he does and not have an oval win. So it's time to get the oval win for him, and as you mentioned, get the I don't know about the monkey, but definitely the specter looking over him by saying you're not one of the best because you don't have an oval win. He should get that done. If not at Indianapolis, probably later this season, but I'm not going to rule out Alex Palou. Well, that's going to do it here for today. We'll get on out of here and give everyone back the remainder of their Saturdays. And after this, I am on my way to go meet Antonio. He's in town for the 500. I'll meet him for dinner. And I'm going to be hopefully meeting Clindy as well. Maybe some other folks that decide they want to show up. So I'm looking forward to that. So my race announcing voice is over, but we'll be talking about iRacing races, I'm sure, well into the night after plates of food and cups of maybe alcohol, maybe some caffeine. Someone's got to be a designated driver. So we'll see about that. But that's it for today. Once again, your podium here from Indianapolis. Matt Hollenbaugh gets the win by 0.012 of a second over Kevin Burrell and Tobias Nara. Join us again next week at 2 p.m. Eastern time for round 7 of the 2025 campaign as the teams and drivers head to Motown to visit Belle Isle and the Detroit Grand Prix. With Indy over, the focus now turns to the 2025 Series Championship. A lot still remains on the line, so you don't want to miss it. Coverage starts at Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's 2:00 p.m. Eastern. As always, for the correct broadcast time in your area, you can find everything right here at YouTube at youtube.com/@P1 Broadcasting. Hey, we love bringing these races to you, but not easy. Require time and money to produce. If you share a passion for the sport of IndyCar and enjoyed our coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series presented by 4D Racewear, please take time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description, and donate to our 2025 broadcast fund. We realize times are tough, so any contribution would be greatly appreciated. We thank you for watching and make us part of your YouTube viewing during NTT IndyCar Race Weeks. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thought of today's race, and if you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more P1's other iRacing programming, including the IndyCar Oval Series at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana this Tuesday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. P1's IndyCar iRacing Series Saturday Top Split coverage presented to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in the description. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cams. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook or follow them on X and Instagram, and all the links that you need are in the description. For business inquiries and learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook. You can follow us on X and Instagram as well. And you can follow all of our social links. You can find them all on Linktree. The link is in the description. So, for Murph, who's coming to Indianapolis, hope he enjoys his 500. Ryan, I hope you enjoy watching it tomorrow. For Murph and Ryan, Justin Putschauer, everyone here at 4D Racewear and P1. I'm Gary Gatto saying to all, thanks for watching, and all of our men and women serving in the military and its first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Kate, make sure to catch the real stars and cars of the NTT IndyCar Series this Sunday, tomorrow, May 25th, for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Pre-race coverage with all the ceremonies and pageantry starts at 10 a.m., followed by the green flag at noon. Can Joseph win 3 in a row from the rear? Does Palou finally get his first oval win? Or do we see a rookie pole sitter, Robert Schwartzman, dominate and win? Tune in and find out. It's going to be a good one. Follow all the action on your Fox affiliate, on the Fox app, on the IndyCar Live app outside of America, or just join Mark Janes and the gang on IndyCar Radio, just like I used to do as a kid, on Sirius XM Channel 215. Be sure to check out your local listings for the correct broadcast times and station in your area. You can catch us again next week in Detroit for the next race of the IndyCar iRacing Series Saturday Top Split presented by 4D Racewear. Enjoy the 500, everybody, and have a great holiday weekend.